Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to one more session on ANPOC. We have a super interesting topic today. Can't get simpler than this, but can't get more important than this. Why should you be a digital marketeer in 2021? And to discuss this, today we have three wonderful experts on the panel. I will quickly take a couple of minutes to introduce them. People are coming in, sorry. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today? We want to talk about multiple elements, things around how has marketing as a function evolved over the years. What is, of course, expected in the next couple of years, especially accelerated by COVID and the remote working scenario. What are some sectors, popular skills, roles people should focus on within digital marketing? And there's this age-old question around freelancing, whether to work in an agency or at a brand. So we will touch upon that as well. And of course, how automation is impacting digital marketing jobs going forward. So these are some of the topics we will cover. Make sure if you guys have any questions, do put it in the chat box. Do put the question and also tell us which expert you want us to answer that question. And then we will pick it up at the end of the session. Yeah. With that, let me move on to introducing our speakers. Let me start with Ada. Welcome, Ada.
Thank you.
So Ada has more than 12 years of experience in this area. She has developed and implemented tools, workflows, automated media buying processes, and of course, executed on start to end complete advertising projects. Currently, she is heading the digital marketing at Romandi Network. And previously, she has worked stints at Group M and Google. Ada's strength lies in building strategies and ensuring high quality delivery of campaigns in programmatic, social media, and of course SEO, among other things. So once again, a very warm welcome to Ada for the session.
Thank you so much.
Right. The next speaker on our panel is Aditya. Aditya has 10 plus years of experience across multiple domains, e-commerce, travel, health, food tech, you name it, both domestic and globally. Currently, he is managing the digital marketing for Domino's, and his expertise lies in a variety of things, including Google Analytics, search engine marketing, customer acquisition, conversion rate optimization, and of course, community management. Welcome, Aditya, to the session.
Thank you.
And finally, last but not the least, we have Sunny on the session as well. Sunny brings with him more than 16 years of experience in digital marketing and beyond, having worked at agencies and with brands, right? The client side. He's passionate about innovation, excited by data science and the intersection of technology and marketing. I think that's the right space to be in for each of us today. His work has allowed him to work with brands like Coca-Cola, Axe, Hotstar, Z, Visa, lot of great brands internationally and domestically. So awesome. Welcome again, Sunny.
Thank you so much.
Cool. So guys, with that, let's get started with our fireside chat, right? I will open up a question. It's a more broad question. Maybe we go round robin. Let's start with Ada. And my question for us to start off is, how has marketing as a function changed since you entered? And what do you expect in the next few years?
I think it has changed a lot. At least when I started my career, I started for a direct company working with Google AdWords. It was called back in the day, and doing campaigns. This was the most mature product on the Google side. And I also worked on SEO, and the way SEO was done back in the day was a little easier. Then Google released the Panda updates, and things got a little bit more complicated because it wasn't easy to just to copy paste content or rephrase. You needed to have more original content with regards to SEO. Then when I started working in Google, I was working first in the AdWords team, which was the mature product. And then I moved into the DoubleClick teams, working with the ad server, DoubleClick for advertisers, and later in programmatic. And I was on basically the first support team for programmatic in DoubleClick Bid Manager. At the end of the 2.5 years, the team had grown from 5 people to 12 people in Dublin and to about 30 people in the Hyderabad teams. It was very, very fast evolving. And you could tell that from the first clients we had, which we didn't have a lot of know-how on how programmatic worked, we managed to educate and grow our customer database. And many years later, when I joined different bigger agencies and also worked on a large agency side, we could tell how the programmatic took on so much more, and a lot of things have evolved from the way social media works to the way agencies and direct customers think their digital channels. Yeah, it's a fast development, and you need to stay very relevant. I expect that in the next years there will be a shift towards analyzing more the experience that the customers have from the digital marketing team side, and maybe a little bit less manual work with regards to the campaign management, for example. I will let also my colleagues say their opinion on that. But, yeah.
Aditya?
Well, I mean, just a measuring stick that I would want to put up is the spends in digital marketing itself, right? When I started back in 2011, I used to manage monthly spends about 3 or 4 lakhs for a couple of brands combined, right? And now today we see a scale of almost like 50 to 60 or close to even some brands up to 70% of their annual marketing budget that being spent on digital itself. You know, that clearly shows the growth of the field, and also the fact that everyone now needs to measure what they are getting back for each single penny. That focus on performance and results has only evolved over a period of time, and that is why you see so much confidence in all the big brands investing so heavily on the digital piece of marketing. And also in the next couple of years, I think the focus would more be on technology driven strategies rather than manual optimization, that which Ada, me and Sunny could relate back in 2012, 2013, where we used to sit and do manual keyword queries and optimize them. But now we have amazing tools like Marine, Adobe, which help you to set up some really cool automation techniques, which you don't need to, manually put in a lot of efforts for. So I'm seeing that trend coming in place pretty soon.
Got it. Over to you, Sunny.
So I think one of the main things is I'm the dinosaur in the room, right? I started off when we still had to go and pitch to clients, and I've started both the agency and the client side, as we call it, right? And I think where it started off was we had to teach people what it was, and like what Aditya and Ada said, we don't have to do that anymore. Right now, it's digital first. So that's one thing that's changed a lot. And the other thing is that time it was websites, microsites, promotional stuff, apps, then became AR, VR, data-driven, and now it's more data-driven stuff that we see. But the one thing that's remained constant is that media has always been the thing, right? Media planning, media buying. Where do you spend your marketing monies when it comes to digital? That has always remained the same. The only thing is there have been new formats, etc., but the fundamentals remain the same. So it's very important for someone to be very fundamentally grounded in in that. And the second thing is people have to learn that change is the only constant. As cliched as it sounds, I think that is the one that changes every single day. And that's the one reason why I think all of us are stuck around in the digital space, because it's exciting. And the biggest change that came in the middle was social media. And what that has done, however, is that it's pigeonholed people's, I think, roles in the team. So first there used to be the brand managers, and that's it. And then there's the agencies doing everything. Now there's a digital marketing manager over there. Now, along with the digital marketing, so there's someone who does spends, someone who does the creative stuff, or social media person, and someone who does everything else. So I think the one, and that's an issue according to me, because everything is not synced. And I think that's where we are at right now. And I think that's evolving. And also for people here, the role of a brand manager has changed over time. And the role of a marketing manager has changed over time. The role of a digital person has also changed over time. So the idea is to have everyone do understand every part of it. And the way that it'll change is this, that everyone will need to go beyond what they already do. Anyone who's come into the system in the last 5 years has possibly focused on media or focused on social media. Or so the idea is, how do we make them a part of the larger picture and grow them. So that's the way that I think it will grow, because they've already mentioned about the automation piece. We are more data driven, we are more ROI driven. Today you can't, if I put up a print ad, other than a QR code, there's no way of me seeing if there's a spike because of that, or because of an outdoor creative, or because of a TV ad. But when monies are limited, when things like this happen, and with the introduction of a lot of companies like in the startup culture, there it's very important that you see where every rupee is going. So that's the change.
Perfect. Got it. So Aditya, let me put one question for you, right? Let's talk a little bit more about what's happening in today's world, right? How do you think the role of a marketeer has evolved in a post-COVID kind of environment?
I mean, I think it's becoming more and more crucial as a marketeer, right? And as a digital marketeer itself, it's not just about understanding the technology or understanding the fundamentals of the platforms that you work on. Particularly post-COVID, I think a sense of business analytics and sense of business goals and what are your key elements that enables the business to grow in this time are the key factors. And that is where any digital marketer who is relatively experienced in the industry should also start focusing more on business analytics, understanding what the needs are of the business at this time, and shift his strategy alongside it to make sure that the business keeps growing. And you're not at a rudimentary stage where you're just focused on the technology or on the tools or the platforms that you work on, and you don't really get exposed to the business side of things. That is what I think should be the focus for any digital marketeer, at least in post-COVID era.
Got it. Any thoughts from you guys, Sunny and Nada?
I tend to agree with Aditya. I think he makes a good point here. What do you think?
So then in that case, Sunny, you have anything to add there?
Can you repeat the question?
No, I guess it's just extending to what you were talking about, right? How the role of a marketer is evolving, especially in a post-COVID kind of a world. So I guess
the same. You just have to basically make sure that you are on top of things. Like what Aditya said, right? It's important to be more well-rounded, and sticking in one place or sticking into just doing one sort of thing will make you not just complacent. It'll make you not. It'll make you irrelevant over time. There's a lot of people. Basically, see, the one truth about the digital space is that there's a lot of supply and there's a lot of demand. But if you have to stand out amongst the rest, then you have to know about other things as well. You need to have some sort of business understanding. Otherwise, you're like everyone else.
Got it. So I guess so let's move on to Ada, right? See, you have spent some time in agencies. The question that a lot of people, when we talk to our consumers, is that should I start working in an agency, or should I start my career in directly a brand? Should I try freelancing and so on, right? So are
Yeah.
agencies still relevant? Are they innovating, enough? So is there an advantage today to start a career at an agency?
I think it's important to understand the context, whether we're talking about a company that is big, medium, or small. Maybe they don't have the resources in-house. The agencies will remain relevant because they have a bigger power of negotiation, first of all. They have teams, strategic partnerships, they conduct tests regularly, they have access cross-industry to big data, and they have the know-how and expertise in-house. Of course, I think that working in an agency as a digital marketeer is very good at the beginning of your career, because yes, you will work hard, you will work many hours, but it's a very fast learning curve. So if you want to learn a lot and very fast and get your hands dirty, you should start in an agency. The agency, I know there is a tendency, so for companies want to have their digital in-house, they want to have control now, and they want to leverage their own data and make use of that, and that's great. But I think that agencies can provide a little more. There is a risk because, for example, in less mature markets, the people who pitch maybe are not the ones that are going to also operate your campaigns. And you have sometimes junior people working on your campaigns, and there could be errors. The advantage of working with an agency here, though, is that the agency is then responsible if something happens. But if you do these errors in-house, well, you are yourself responsible for them. Yeah.
Got it. In summary, you do get a lot of responsibility. You get a lot of different aspects to work on as part of the agency, but of course, the accountability is also on you to deliver. Understood.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sunny, what do you see in terms of roles that are gaining more prominence within marketing and maybe digital marketing as a subset, right? Where should the next set of professionals focus on?
And I want to take off from what Ada said as well. I worked not half my life, but a part of my life in an agency, and part of my life in at the client side, as we call it, when we were at an agency, right? And I've set up teams in-house at Z, etc. We set up the entire team in-house as well. And the certain things which actually make a difference is that you're not as close to the brand anymore if you're working at an agency, because there's so much happening now, and it's such a big difference from what used to happen in the past, especially in India, that you don't get to spend that much time with the agency. Basically just barking orders and asking them to come back with things, and then things will never be in sync because you're not sitting together and doing that. You're not spending that sort of time. And hence, I think that the space is changing a little bit from that perspective. There are also agencies who are setting up their teams at the client side, which makes them very close to the thing. And the best part about having an agency is that there is backup, right? There is bench strength. If others not there, there'll be someone else who will be handling the account and making sure that everything's going well. And I believe that every single person needs to work at an agency at the start of the career. Bana, I think it has to happen. Also because it's a great fun environment. Screw everything else. I think it's just great fun being at an agency. I think grief binds people, and the grief that you get, right? The grief that clients give you, and Aditya, you're part of that. Right, the grief that clients give you, I think it's important that brings the agency people together, and it's a great thing to have a drink at the end of the day and be like, F this guy and F that guy. But you learn a hell of a lot. And also the other thing is, it's very important to be kind and understanding. Only then will you get it. If you scream at someone, you're getting your job done, right? And what being in an agency and then coming to a client side teaches you is empathy. It teaches you kindness. It teaches you a certain level of how to understand what they are going through, and make it in a way which works best for everyone. So that's the way that I've always seen it happen. And in terms of going forward, there are interesting terminologies which are coming in for people. There is product manager. What is a product manager? It's a product marketing manager. Product marketing manager is the hottest thing in the world right now, because according to me at least, because there you're looking at a tech thing, but you're looking at the marketing aspect of it as well, where you need a conjunction of tech understanding and of marketing chops. And that's the space to be filled right now, and that's not happened yet. And I think that's the thing that will come up. Otherwise, your media guys are always going to be there, your social media guys are always going to be there. What you need to do is just be proficient at what you do, right? And just be good at just be the best, and don't look for mediocrity. And as long as you're doing that, there is place for you, because there are so many things that are happening right now. But I think that marketing strategy chops, right? Just breaking down the tasks into the right way, and then having a very creative mind, and then having the technical know-how to know when someone's bullshitting you. Those are the things which are perennial. That hasn't changed in the last 16 years. That's not going to change in the next 50 years. So that's important. Then you pick and choose what you want to do. Go and experiment as much as you want, but understand tech a little bit. Language is very important. Understand that grammar and spellings are, I don't know why I have to keep saying this, but I think that that's something that Aditya and Ada will also ascribe to. That's something that everyone should work on. So yeah, that's what I think.
Got it.
I completely resonate with Sunny and Ada here. I mean, even when I started my career, I started at a small agency to learn the fundamentals itself. I mean, if not anything else, working in an agency will give you a perspective of the core fundamentals of digital marketing, which I think if you start in a brand, I think you will miss the fun there. I mean, as long as you understand the fundamentals of digital marketing, you will have a lot of fancy jargons coming in from the brands and all, but at the end of the day, it boils down to what your understanding is of a particular platform, whether it's on Google Ads or a programmatic buying or an influencer marketing or anything, right? If you do not understand the core fundamentals of it, it will not help you grow within the role in the organization or anywhere else. So, I mean, that is why agencies, you should start. And I think if anyone is aspiring, I think agency should be the first way to go rather than looking at working on the brand side.
Yeah, I agree with you, Aditya. Actually, when I started my career, I started in a small company, and I had to do the AdWords campaign by myself. And I can confirm that I didn't know the language, I didn't know the terms, I didn't understand the full picture of it, and I felt that I was missing it. Later, when I moved on the technology side, it helped in a way because I knew what I was missing as a direct client. So I could help push some things. But when I joined the agency, like a large agency, it is only then that I understood the full ecosystem and everything that's going around. And there was a lot of emphasis on the terms, on the technical terms, on the language, on understanding fully each channel and how it contributes to the digital marketing strategy.
Actually, the chat is a little empty right now. Let me just ask this question to guys, to people now listening to all of us, right? Tell us in the chats, what would you want to join? Would you want to join an agency? Do you think it will be more fun, or do you want to join the client and make agency people's lives in? Let's just see someone put that in the chat. But guys, the chat is open. We're not going to go ahead until we see something. So go ahead. Agency. Good. If you guys are any good, then you should come and join me. I consult now.
Yeah, that's actually a very nice idea to see what people think.
Agency. Okay. From agency to brand. How do we evaluate an agency is what Dhananjay says. One is look at the kind of work they do. And second is speak to people from the agency to figure out how they deal with people in turn and how they deal with stress. Because I think there is stress everywhere, but there will be people who will shield you and make sure that they treat you well. And I think what happens is, as an agency or as a client, if the work is going on well, right, then the equation is always going to be good. when the work is suffering, that's when everything suffers. So you look at people who've retained clients for a long time. That's a great way of seeing whether the agency is good or not. And just speak to as many people from the agency as possible. Everyone is available. Everyone's nice. I think if you reach out to anyone on LinkedIn, just saying that, hey, listen, I'm going to talk. I think at least 3 out of 10 people will go ahead and do that. And yeah, so Luke Mercier Villat says, it depends. You can get great experience in a short time and work on different projects at agency, but I feel working for a brand gives you more in-depth experience on the subject. Absolutely. So the idea is if you start with an agency, you understand you understand the possibilities, like what Ada said, right? When you're sitting on the other side, you get you only see a little bit because you are solving your company's objectives and your brand's objectives first. And which is why you have the agency to say, okay, this is my objective. Always, and I always think as a client, you ask questions and give problems to the agency to solve. Don't tell them what to do. And that's a problem that happens a lot and very often. And that's something that the agency needs to resolve, not you. So you go with the problem that the agency resolve, come back with as much as possible. Little understanding is a bad thing. People say little knowledge is a bad thing. It's exactly that. When you're working only on the brand side, you have a little less knowledge than the person. Like I would never have the experience that Ada has, or even Aditya, now sitting in a brand's chair for the last 3 years. You would not really understand what Ada knows from a programmatic standpoint also. So, and that's where you go to learn. You don't look at them as vendors. You look at them as people that can help you reach somewhere and that you can learn from. And for tomorrow, whatever you want. So that's the thing, according to me at least. So
yeah, you also have to think that when you're in an agency, you have access to a lot of what a lot of brands do. So when you are in a client side, you know what that brand does and how they did it so far, but you don't know how it could be done differently. But when you're in an agency, you can see how different brands work on different strategies. And then when you move later, for example, in-house, you can see gaps, for example, or you can see a point that maybe is missing. You can come with an innovation. But if you've only learned what that brand was already doing, you're not bringing any extra tips at the beginning of your career, for example.
I was thinking having an agency mindset is amazing. Be on the brand side, but having an agency mindset is really good. And for that, you need to understand where you're coming from. What's your Aditya?
I completely agree. Like I said, right, working with a brand for a longer period of time, or even if you start from a brand side, right, you are sort of thought in a particular way to deal with things. Whereas with agency, I think you have that flexibility to pick up some tricks and trades of other businesses which you can actually start implementing in other completely different portfolios of accounts that you would work on. With big brands, you cannot do that. You will have a set of guidelines which will be guarded by someone who sits at a head HQ and guiding you. Okay, these are the brand guidelines that you need to follow, no deviation whatsoever. And you learn things in a particular way, which becomes very difficult for you to, if you switch industry as such. I mean, from F&B to, if you go to FMCG or BFSI, your thought process or settling down in that particular vertical itself will take a lot of time if you don't have an agency background. Once you come from an agency background, that becomes much more easier for you to transition in whatever industry that you want to move into, because at the end of the day, the technology plays a key role when you talk about digital. It really doesn't matter what the business does, as long as you understand the fundamentals of the technology and you are able to implement it for the business.
We'll take these questions, I think, a little later before we'll end up these questions. And so everyone who's sending this, Shriram, you can have a look and then put that to us after you're done with our questions.
So I think while we talked about roles and how they are evolving, right, I think it's also important to focus on sectors. So Aditya, in your mind, what are some sectors that are primed for a digital marketing career today? Are there new sectors that you see moving towards digital and therefore leading to a lot more jobs?
I think in the last 5 years itself, right? I mean, a lot of industries have accelerated within or with the focus of going to digital marketing, right? And one of the key sectors which I see, at least post-pandemic, coming into digital is the B2B segment. I think B2B segment was one of those pieces which were quite reluctant to move on a digital platform. And of late, you're seeing companies like Udaan, Porter, which were traditionally hardcore brick and mortar business in terms of transportation or even logistics, right? And suddenly now in the last 2 years, at least in the last a year and a half, these industries have suddenly realized that, digital is the way, and it is a lot of it eases a lot of pressure at work as well, because it's a largely uncategorized segment, or it's largely scattered all across. And this is where I think a lot of B2B, regardless of which industry it is, a lot of B2B players would actually start looking in a digital space. That is where I think you could always look at.
Understood. Cool. So let me come to, I think this is a question that's, I think, really important for folks who are trying to start their career in digital marketing, right? This is for all of you guys. Maybe this time we start with Sunny. Are there specific skills you look at while as a hiring manager, both at an entry level and maybe slightly senior guys? So let's touch upon both segments of hiring.
Yeah, I also want to take off from what Aditya said was one term that is really taking over right now is digital transformation, which is what he said, right? From things like Porter, etc., and D2C brands, which are direct to consumer brands. There are a shitload of direct to consumer brands who are coming up. So, and they always look for freshers because they don't have the monies. So those are two sectors which are definitely like digital transformation. You need to have a lot of experience to understand how to transform the business with a tech standpoint. But everything new is tech is digital first. So all these digital first brands like D2C brands, like you call it, those are all the ones that I think are extremely important. And but anyway, I think every industry is going digital, so you can go wherever and make sure you have a great time. Coming back to this, like the skills, I think, see, one is you're looking at, and what I always look at is the way you think, not what you do, but also the way you think. Everyone will have generic skill sets that you're calling them for, but I always give them something to do and make them sit down and do it in front of me, because that's a real life situation. And even with agencies, we used to do the same thing. I came up with this thing where you don't give them, because what Ada said, right? The people who pitch are very different from the people who work on your account. And that's the reason why you see a lot of people changing and so on. And agencies have also evolved in a way that there are only very few agencies who are sticking to their core and cultures. Otherwise, people move very often. So, you can't really say that this agency is good or bad. So it's the people, not the agency, if you're looking from a client perspective. And secondly, if you're hiring within your team, you're looking at the way that they think, which is business focused, right? And then you're looking at the skill set. The skill set is okay. I mean, that's something that you will have or grow. But if you don't have the business mindset, if you don't have the approach right, and you can break down the problem in the right manner, then it's a problem. And the third most important thing is culture fit. That how are they when you interact with them, put them in a little bit of stress. So those are the things that you really look for. These three things. Skills are okay. I think let's just say that everyone is at the same level of skill. The thing that changes then is the way that you think, which is how do you break down these things and add value. And the third part of it, which is how are you as a cultural fit into the whole picture. And those two things I think are more important than the skills.
Got it. How about you, Aditya?
Well, in terms of skill sets, I think one I would obviously look for is whether the person will have a combination of the fundamentals of the platform and business sense. Because as we grow, I think any digital marketeer growing in his role should focus on improving his business skills, which also means learning some business analytic tools like Tableau or SPSS or Power BI, so that you can always be more relevant to the business and keep contributing. So if I am hiring someone, I would look for these kind of skill sets for the role.
Understood. Ada?
I have a little bit of a different answer. So of course, it depends like which level you are hiring at. Do you want somebody who's a little bit more senior? Do you want somebody who's a junior? So for me, I think it's very important that the person is a fast learner and has passion for numbers, for digital in general, and likes to learn about everything that's new and innovative. I think learning the platform, I think you can do it when you have this base skill, and then you have to be adaptable to understand the logic behind. So yeah, I think it's nice to be creative, but also keep focused and have a logical track to what you do.
Got it. Perfect. Okay. Next question is on freelancing. I think I got a couple of questions on the chat as well on the same lines. So right. So Sunny, you have done and you are currently doing a lot of freelancing as well, right? So how should one look at freelancing as a career? When should they look at it? What kind of projects? Because at the end of the day, there are, like you said, right? There is so much opportunity for young professionals. The platforms are all open to them. So how should they think of, differentiating themselves as freelancers in today's world?
See, the term freelancer has been bastardized over time. There used to be the thing where you would want to get certain things out which the internal team couldn't manage, and hence you would get someone else who would go ahead and do that. It has changed over time because people wanted to get out of the corporate culture. Someone like me, I quit my corporate job after 14 years, 15 years of being in a corporate role, and then started guiding companies in terms of how to go about marketing on the whole brand strat, with marketing strategy, everything. But I did it at a time when I was very sure of what I knew. Right now, there's a lot of people who give very mediocre services because they think if they know a little bit, they know enough. I think that's a problem. And that is also giving the consultant culture a bad name. Because today, if I go and ask for a certain amount of money to say handle someone's social media, another person is also there to do it at 1/10 of the cost. But the differentiation is vast because I will come with a different mindset and I will make sure I'm looking 1 year ahead because I've seen it. A lot of freelancers, clients look at that and be like, and different types of clients, right? The startup, then they look at, okay, both are giving social media marketing, so why should I go with someone who's charging more money? At the end of the day, they're giving just creators that go on the platform. So it's a different way of looking at it. So number one is look for the people who are a right fit for you, and two, people who will pay you for the way that you think. And because again, everyone, the end result, not the result, but the what you're giving is the same. Whether it is a media plan, whether it is a strategy piece, whether the end there's a presentation going out or there are posts going out, whatever it may be. It is how do you tell someone that I care for your business when I understand how to grow it a lot better than others? And rather than saying that I know social media, I go with the thought that I know your business and I think this is the problem and this is the solution that I propose. That problem solution approach rather than providing a service approach is the difference. And that's what sets you apart as a freelancer or a consultant. Right? So freelancer, you have to become a consultant. You are someone who's adding a lot of value to it. And what you give from that perspective is I'm an outsourced CMO for a company. So I'm still a freelancer for them. I'm still a consultant for them, but I'm handling every single thing that they do from a marketing standpoint. So so the terminology has changed. The kind of things that you do have changed. Of course, if you are at a lower level, then you just want to do a certain level of things. For example, if you're great at copy, there's great number of people who are looking for good copy people, including all the time. If you're a great designer, there's always space to go to an agency and say, hey, listen, I'm a good designer. You need anything? Let us know. And that will happen. So that's the way it will happen. So it's about how you say what value you bring versus anybody else. And that's the selling point.
Got it. And I guess you're saying that to become an effective freelancer, it's better to get some industry experience before you venture in the cloud.
Yeah, and it also having some industry experience also gives you network, right?
Exactly.
So when you're getting out into the freelancing world, either you're getting into it because you're fed up of your corporate job and burnt out like I was, or you're doing it because you want to do your own entrepreneurial journey. Whichever way, if it's a former, then it's okay. You jump without without a parachute like I did. And, but if you're in the second boat, then have at least 1 or 2 clients on board, have a long-term view, because otherwise every 3 months you're going into an anxiety situation of where's my next paycheck going to come from.
Got it. Got it.
Interesting.
Next one is for you, Ada. With so much, automation and tech getting deployed, especially in the marketing space, right?
Yeah.
What you guys started talked about in the beginning, a lot of what marketers used to do is getting automated. So, in your mind, what are those time-proof skills one should rather focus on?
You are right. So there are a lot of articles out there saying that some jobs which we now know of in marketing are going to disappear or are going to shift towards something a bit different. There are a lot of automation tools. You maybe won't need to optimize campaigns manually. There are already tools which do that for you, so they save time. But I think that, for example, the qualitative data is something you could focus on. And also the understanding of this full ecosystem, so that you can take or help the tools take the right decisions and supervise that the tools do that. But also analyze the user experience from a qualitative standpoint. So realize also that marketing is now in all the departments of the company, because everything that the company does transpires. People are more and more reading reviews about your products, your services. They don't just buy from the first source they find. They're going to compare you. They're going to see reviews on how you deliver, how you behave towards your customers. So you need to understand marketing from this perspective, from customer service, from the technical support service you offer, from sales, from the logistics and delivery. It has to incorporate everything. So it's important for a marketer to understand that this full ecosystem needs to follow through. And yes, you will use automated tools and they will help you, but you need to take the decisions from improving the quality of the experience of the consumers.
Understood. Aditya, how about you? I mean, you must also be, you mentioned a lot of tools that are helping out, right? So on top of that, are there skills that you look for in your team members?
So one thing that I would always look, which is not really cognizant of any technology that I would be implementing at a business or not, is the zeal to learn and the zeal to adapt with the changing things, right? Like I said, a lot of automation tools are coming up, which will only make a digital marketer's life more and more complex. And you should have an understanding of, or a zeal to pick up things and pull out more insights which are relevant to business. Only then I think you will keep on contributing to the business and grow in your role as well. Because if you're just stuck to doing AdWords day in day out, or Facebook ads day in day out, and over a period of time you would just be rudimentary or redundant in terms of the growth, or in terms of the skill sets that you have, because the tools that would come in would have far more technologically advanced, which will enable them to tap into certain features of the platform which you would not have, because you don't have the understanding of the platforms within yourself, right? So these kind of skill sets is something which one should always keep themselves enhancing with, so that they stay relevant to the roles and the business that they work in.
Got it. The other thing, Ada, I want to come back to you, right? See, you, since you have worked in different locations across Europe, right?
Yeah.
Do you see a demand for remote digital marketing role growing, or is there still a reluctance to that because a local flavor in marketing is preferred?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because well, there are a lot of debates out there right now about whether after these restrictions are over, are we coming back to a hybrid working environment, or are we going back to the way we were before, in full time in the office, or is there a need for offices after all? So it really depends on the culture where you're in. So I can talk about my current experience, because I've been working remotely now for maybe 2.5 years, and it's been going really, really great. When the pandemic restrictions came, the only difference was that I traveled less on client sites or to the office. But digital marketing is in essence digital. What an organization needs to tick as a box is the communication between the department and the communication with the client, because you need to keep this line very open. Now, Switzerland is quite a small country, and it's a traditional in terms of most companies like to see you in the office. As a fun fact, I was looking through some job descriptions during the pandemic, and I was noticing that some people were putting in the job description that the job will start in the office 100% as soon as the pandemic restrictions are over. So it was clear there that they wanted that the digital marketer to be in the office all the time. There are companies which are shifting this behavior. They saw that it worked for them. There are some companies who discovered it didn't work for them. I think it also depends on the personality of the peoples that you employed and what you experienced during this period. Was it positive or was it negative? Of course, because the essence of the job is online, in theory, you shouldn't need to be in the office, but you do need to use tools which enable and open that communication. So McKinsey, I think they did a survey, and they discovered, they noticed that the two main topics where people can work from home are the training fields and all the jobs in IT, digital marketing included. So these are the first two roles which can be done online. So I think it's also interesting to see what people say here and what they think.
Got it. So here's what we are at 50 minutes mark. I think there are quite a few good questions on the chat box also that I want to spend maybe 10 minutes with you guys. So what I'll do is I'll just take a couple of minutes to explain the philosophy and talk to folks on the call today. So guys, what you have done at Antwork is, we are trying to create this experiential learning movement, right? Where folks like Ada, Aditya, and Sunny come back and share their experience, right? Because for us, at least having worked in the industry for close to 15 years, graduated as an engineer, what I've realized is now you can learn by doing three things, right? A is learn from the practicing professionals who have been there and done it. No, I think it's time we move on from learning from the teachers and the academicians. Second is learn by doing, right? Focusing on getting practical hands-on knowledge and not just the theories and frameworks. And finally, in this remote world, like Ada was talking, you're going to be in this Zoom kind of interaction for quite some time. It's becoming the new normal. So why learn from just self-recorded content when you can learn from live immersive classes, right? So based on this philosophies, what we have done is we have launched 16-week courses on digital first domains, including digital marketing, cybersecurity, and data engineering. And we have professionals who have going to come from Amazon, Google, Unilever, You name the brands. We have those instructors who come in on the weekends, teach you live on really practical stuff for each of the digital marketing modules. And more importantly, what Sunny was talking about, right? It's not just the technical knowledge that is important, but more importantly, the element of, how do you communicate with the stakeholders? How do you articulate your strategy? Do you have the critical thinking and the problem solving mindset? Those are elements you will equally focus on during these classes. We have folks from McKinsey and Deloitte who will come and teach you how to structure the problems and so on. So as much as focus on the digital marketing domains, equal emphasis is being given on the softer aspects for you to succeed as a professional. It's a 16-week program. Our next batch is starting at the end of this month. So if any of you is interested in transitioning into digital marketing or starting their career in digital marketing, I would advise you to sign up on it. The link, I'll put it on the chat box. We will have a further discussion with you, and then you can take a call. And it's extremely affordable, guys, this program, compared to what other edtech platforms are charging right now. So do check it out. With that, I will switch back quickly to the AMA session. So I think one question I have for you, Sunny, I think this is from Aniket. How should I focus as a newbie to grow in digital marketing?
Pick one thing and do it. If you're a newbie, then number one is learn. Go online. There's enough that is there to learn. Like when we were starting off, there was not much. But now there is Facebook Blueprint, which is a Facebook certified. You can learn everything about the platform over there. You can go back to Google. Google has its AdWords certification. So you can do all of those things. There are enough TED Talks in the world. Of course, you can reach out to me separately, or you can join the Antwork program, subtle plug. But and if you really want to get some hands-on experience, just join any agency, and then just roll with it. But just go through everything, just understand what are the different platforms, and then jump into it. And that's the only way out. I think. See, the thing is, you also make some money while you learn if you are getting into an agency. So why not?
Right. The next question is for Ada. This is from Vijay. He's asking, is there a way we can start freelancing in digital marketing, and how does it work? I think we have covered that a little bit. And how can we see this as a career in digital marketing as technology is getting updated every day?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think that you can start freelancing in two directions. It depends what your base skill set is, or what you're attracted. I don't know in which level of your career you're at right now, but for example, if you have a good knowledge of the full ecosystem, then you can aim to become a freelance consultant, for example, and provide like a high level expertise to a company. And if you, for example, just know one topic very, very well, say programmatic advertising, then you can become a freelancer in that space, maybe with a medium or small company that doesn't have that in-house. Just as you also mentioned, yes, the topics evolve very fast, so you need to have this eagerness to learn all the time. You have to learn to stay updated, to network a lot, because you need to establish connections, and you need to have people trusting you to give you that work as a freelancer. You're on your own. You need to sell yourself very well. You need to build your personal brand, so invest in your personal brand, and yeah, good luck.
Got it. Manika has a question, I guess. Aditya, as a fresher, what challenges do we face while making a career in digital marketing?
I think just to understand the numbers. If you're not a numbers person, and if you don't love numbers, I think you'll just get lost with all the numbers that you see. I mean, there is too much of numbers to understand to begin with as a fresher, and that is one challenge that I think you would always have if you don't really like numbers.
Got it. How about you guys, Sunny, Ada? I think challenges that a fresher would face and what they should keep in mind.
Ada, go ahead.
Sorry, say that again.
Ada, go ahead. Ada.
It really depends on which stage of the career and in which field. But I think it's important to invest and to recognize. For example, if you feel you have a challenge, you need to be transparent about it, and then you can fix it. But if you're not able to recognize it, then you need to be honest where you feel that there's a gap and invest there.
Got it.
Yeah, I think just get to know everything that's there. The thing is your readiness to learn and do it in the fun way, right? You keep an eye out on this. Think with Google. You just sign up on that. You see a lot of fun stuff. You sign up on Adweek. You'll see a lot of different things, and that's the more interesting way of going about it. Because otherwise things can get too technical and boring also sometimes. If you look at Tableau or website or just look at a Tableau thing, you'll be like, cheap. But if you see the usage of it and how it's actually been, what it has been used for, you suddenly like it opens up a lot of different things for you. So I think look at the most interesting things of it. And make marketing is supposed to be interesting at the end of the day, right? So all these numbers, etc., are supposed to excite and to put it in that. So you see what excites you, and then, like I said, and then get into it and keep learning. There's a lot of learning material out and a lot of case studies. Just look at the case studies first and then go into the learning material.
Yeah, you mentioned think with Google. There is the skill shop that Google offers. It's free, so you can learn all of the Google platforms there. You have the Facebook Blueprint certification. You can do that as well. I think you only have to pay for the exam at the end. And a lot of material out there. And there is Antwork as well. Yeah.
Definitely. I guess I think we are at a 60-minute mark. I'll just ask one question for all of you. It's based on your journey so far, right? Let me start with Aditya on this one, right? What advice would you give as at least for parting advice for this session to an aspiring digital marketeer? If you look back at your journey so far, is there something you would do differently?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid at all. It's okay. You'll make mistakes. You'll spend extra money for the clients on the platforms. You might get some backlash from there, but it's okay. You will learn only when you make mistakes. So keep learning, keep making mistakes. That's all. That's part of the journey.
And it's not your money. Next time we'll see if Aditya's agency makes a mistake, then what he does with it. But yeah, fair point.
How about you, Ada?
I think I would speak up a little bit more. So not be afraid of presenting my ideas, and also invest more in networking, like having people who are as passionate as you, digital marketing, so you can have knowledge exchange, and you can have a trusted, let's say trusted group, so you can keep motivated, and it's I would do that a bit better.
And the minute that it stops being fun, stop doing it. It's as simple as that.
It should be fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
You should really enjoy it.
If you have to drag your feet to work, if you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that feeling will be there, of course, because there are campaigns, there's something or the other always happening, but it can't be something that lasts too long. So always have that filter ready. The minute that it becomes less fun, the minute that anxiety takes over too much and you can't handle it, you start breaking down. You have to reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's very, very important.
Awesome. Great. I think we have some really good comments in the chat box. Also, Tony says you have to enjoy what you do and have motivation in what you do. This has been an interesting topic. Thank you, Ada and team. Great. Wonderful session, guys. I know there are quite a few still questions pending, but we'll pick it up in the next session. Once again, thanks to Ada, Aditya, and Sunny for taking out time on a Saturday afternoon or morning and spending time with our audience. let's give a thumbs up on the Zoom window for these amazing speakers, guys. And we have multiple sessions coming up in the next week also. So for folks who want to understand how to switch from traditional marketing to digital, or understand how to make a career in digital marketing, there are a few more sessions coming up. Do check us our homepage, and you can sign up there as well. Once again, thanks to the speakers. Had a lovely session, and looking forward to hosting you again.
Thank you, Sriram.
Thank you all. Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Follow me
Bye.
on Instagram. I put pictures. Don't buy from Domino's. Just joking. Buy from the app. Buy directly, right, Aditya?
Yeah,
From the app.
yeah, no aggregators, not Swiggy, not Zomato or Talabat or anything.
Please buy directly from the Domino's app, and make sure that he has nicer earphones to buy.
Better yet, sign up for the Antwerp program. We will sponsor the Domino's pizzas.
That's a better way.
Nothing. I've not got anything. It's okay. If you guys want to meet us next time, I'm on the next panel also. So see you guys. Bye.
All right, guys.
See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, Adam.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Aditya.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.